What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aeron, and I am back to discuss NXT UK this week on the Wrestle podcast. Now, before I do, don't forget to check out Refuse to Conform Clothing. It's not an official sponsorship. I just love their stuff. And also, if you go to refusetoconformclothing.co.uk and use the code AaronNix in all capitals and one word, you will get 10% off of any of your orders, which is pretty sweet. And also, don't forget, Refuse to Conform Clothing is an independent company and an independent organisation based out of Lincolnshire, a lovely county, if I do say so myself. Obviously, I'm going to say that because I'm from Lincolnshire, but it's a lovely place. And it's great to support an independent promotion, and these guys are all about supporting gender and sexual equality, and I highly recommend you check their stuff out. There'll be a link available in the description, along with the code as well, just in case you do forget it. Now, also, just before we do get started, don't forget to like and subscribe, particularly because we are just 10. Remember when that was a thing? We are 10 subscribers away from 300, and of course when we hit 300 we're giving away a free tee or a free piece of digital art courtesy of me, Aeron Nix Design. And if you check out Aeron Nix Design on social media, you'll see what I am capable of in the art world. I do videos, I do graphics, I do artwork, you name it, I can do it. And the most important thing to me is that it is affordable, and I offer artwork and graphics that look the business but don't cost the business. Now then, on to NXT UK, and the show opens with an absolute banger. Dave the Bomber Mastiff versus Tyler Bate. But not just any match, a Heritage Cup rules match. Now, obviously, the Heritage Cup rules are fairly straightforward, although can be quite convoluted if you're not paying attention. 6 3-minute rounds, 20-second breaks between each round. 2 out of 3 falls as well. A fall can be a pinfall, submission, or count out. There is, of course, disqualifications or whatever. Well, I'm assuming there are disqualifications, although I haven't seen a match that entails one yet. And of course, Tyler Bate and Dave Mastiff are the perfect two guys for this, because not only are they world-class wrestlers, but they're also very traditional in a lot of aspects. Now, they can do all the great modern stuff and the flips and the athleticism. This match wasn't about less is more. This match was about making more of less. Instead of just bombarding us with a shit ton of moves, they used the premise of what the match was about to really help tell a story of what they were doing in the ring. It was utterly fantastic. They started off nice and slow, working each other around with the wrist locks, looking to form escapes. You know, Tyler Bate trying not to be completely overhauled by Dave Mastiff, of course, I love dearly, because Dave Mastiff is 300 plus pounds. Dave Mastiff has a glorious beard. Dave Mastiff is a Bantosaurus. Anyway, it was a great match. It was technical, it was fantastic, but it was also good in its simplicity, and that's what I liked about it. Sometimes it's really nice to have that palate cleanser, not having the crazy 20-minute high-octane, high-flying spot monkey matches. This was really nice. It was settled, and I see a lot of people on Twitter and social media saying, oh, there's not enough wrestling anymore. It's all spots and athleticism. Well, you're obviously just not watching the products that you want to watch. Ring of Honor is doing a really good job of that. Impact's got some great workers who do stuff like that. And WWE's NXT UK in particular has a lot of guys who do that. And what I loved about this show is, even though it's only an hour long, they were able to cater to pretty much anybody and everybody who has a taste or has a subjective thought when it comes to wrestling. Dave Mastiff and Tyler Bate had the kind of match that I would fawn over. This is, again, another match where you think, if this wasn't on a weekly show that people are very dismissive of because of past allegations and things of that nature, people would be fawning over this kind of match. It was utterly fantastic. It was world class. I loved it. I thought it was very smooth. I love the psychology of it. I love the fact that it started getting more aggressive, more physical. The brawling aspect and the nature of both men came out later in the match. And of course, Dave Mastiff showing off what the match entails, because he was trying to get a count out at some points by battering Tyler Bate on the outside. He was then rushing to get pinfalls at the end of a round. Great psychology, great storytelling. Dave Mastiff and Tyler Bate are truly two of the best in the world at what they do, and it's so fantastic to see these two guys hook it up. And fun little fact for anyone who gives a shit, actually, I saw these two guys wrestle at the Cockpit in London in front of, about 80 to 100 people for Revolution Pro Wrestling once. So weird to fast forward 3 or 4 years and see these guys doing it on NXT UK, but at the same time fills you with a great deal of joy, and it's great to see that they've grown and become the stars that they deserve to be, and they get a mainstream platform to show off what they can do. Now, in between the matches that we were given, they also had some fantastic vignettes. We didn't get the Noam Dar talk show this week, which I was kind of grateful for because I thought it was pretty trash last week, if I'm being honest. Nothing against Noam Dar, I think he's hilarious and wildly charismatic, but the format just doesn't work for me. But some of the vignettes were great. Nina Samuels was forced to clean up after Xia Brookside again, because of course she's her, shall we say, aide for a month. Let's just go with that and be nice about it. She was washing the dishes and then realised that there was a dishwasher, which I thought was quite amusing. And also the way that she was just stacking the dishes and stuff, it was very... I'm sure Nina Samuels knows how to wash dishes, obviously, but from a kayfabe perspective, I found it relatively amusing. I really like the Valkyrie vignette as well, but the vignette that really stood out to me the most was Eddie Dennis and Wild Boar essentially being, I don't know, taken out to pasture. This was very dark. It had a real Animal Farm vibe about it, if anyone's read the book. It just felt very good. And also Eddie Dennis, seeing him in a more managerial perspective, I don't know if that's because of the amount of injuries that he's picked up over time, so maybe they want to keep him away from wrestling full time as much, although he did, to be fair, participate in that magnificent tag team match a few weeks ago. It just worked for me. It just clicked beautifully. It felt quite menacing, very dark, and I love the fact that he was the other side of the fence. It was almost like he was the owner of the farm, and these were his animals, and, you know, you have let down the sign. I love the line as well, the idea of, like, you separated yourself from the pack. That's brilliant. I love that. The idea we're supposed to be a pack mentality. Because you were separated, because you afforded them the opportunity to take you out, you are now useless to us and you will be punished for what you do. And of course, the other two drag him back into the dark. I thought, ooh, menacing. Can't wait to see where this is going. Let's have some more of that, please. We also got the debut of Lucky Kid, who's now known as Teoman, of course. He took on Danny Collins, who was a nice little wrestler, but clearly there to do the job. I think that's being fair, but he obviously looked very good at what he did. And of course, he's obviously very well trained because he looked very proficient and very professional in the ring. Teoman goes out there, chokes him out in relatively easy fashion. Very interesting to see what they're going to do with him because he's another menacing, dark individual. When he was Lucky Kid on the Indies, he was kind of like a bit fruity and a bit different and a bit psychologically out there, kind of channeling a lot of different old school mentalities of people like Gold Dust and Roddy Piper, and for that reason I'm very excited to see what he can do. But he's a world-class worker, and it was great that commentary weren't afraid to allude to the fact this is a guy who came out of WXW. This is a guy who's trained with Ilya Dragunov. He holds big wins over guys like Dragunov, like Timothy Thatcher. This is not a scrub. This is a legitimately dangerous individual, and it's very exciting to see what they're going to do with him going forward. And on the tag team front as well, we didn't just get the big mixed tag team main event. We also got the continuation of the Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan story, my namesake. They took on Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, who, of course, everybody knows so well. NXT UK alums in every sense, pretty much there from the get-go. Great match. I thought it was a little bit slow and a bit boring at first, and then it started picking up the pace. And this is my example of how not every match needs to be the same, because obviously the opening match had a very technically proficient nature about it. Then Teoman's match had a more menacing, more storyline-driven alternative to it, and this had a little bit of story, but also had all the athleticism and the high flying. And by the way, Flash Morgan Webster might be one of the most underrated athletes in wrestling. He can do literally everything. We all know Mark Andrews is crazy cool and flippy and skaterboy and all that stuff, but Flash Morgan Webster is so talented. And I've been watching this guy for the better part of, I'd say about 5 or 6 years I've been watching this guy. Seen him numerous times live, and I'm always impressed, and he always seems to bring something different out. And of course I like the get up as well in Mod We Trust. Very cool, very great nod to British culture. I love that stuff. But obviously this match all centered around Kenny Williams being a bit of a bastard. He basically cons the referee into the corner, hits the old low blow. Amir Jordan's like, what the hell did we talk about? What the fuck, man? That's not what we do when we go and get 5 guys. Bad Kenny, very bad Kenny. And they, of course, pick up a huge win, it has to be said, over Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews, who have just come out of a huge win in that street fight against Eddie Dennis and Prime. It just feels that they really have a lot of faith in these two as the kind of odd couple tag team. It'll be interesting to see what they're going to do. They might be building towards them facing Pretty Deadly at some point, which should be quite interesting because obviously Pretty Deadly's gimmick, other than looking utterly gorgeous, is the idea that they don't mind cutting the odd corner. So I'm curious to see what goes down there. And of course, the main event is pretty much what everybody tuned in for, a mixed gender tag team match. Not an intergender tag team match, because obviously traditional rules apply here. When a woman is tagged in, the other woman must face her, and vice versa with the men as well. Ginny and Joseph Connors, who make quite an eclectic pairing, against a very eclectic pairing in Piper Niven and Jack Stars, or as they're calling them, Stars and Pipes. I like it. I do. I like it. It's pretty cool. Obviously, I love Ginny so much. I think she is a megastar. I really do. I think her cadence, her beauty, her presentation, and her gimmick, they're all so well done. And I don't want to shatter kayfabe, but she, all in all, is an incredible human being. But obviously, when it comes to playing her character, she is magnificent. And you genuinely feel like she is above you. And that is what she's supposed to do. This is a proper old school world-class heel. Joseph Connors has got a great cadence in the ring. He's one of the best workers the British independent scene has ever seen. I've never seen Joseph Connors have a bad match. He truly is a consummate professional. He's somebody that I would quite literally lose a testicle to train under, because he is that good. He's so special at what he does. And obviously on the flip side of things, I love seeing someone like Jack Stars. You know, I went to 4FW many moons ago now, which is based in Swindon, and I saw Jack Stars wrestle, and I thought, what a great kid, what a great presence he's got, you know, and he lives up to his name as well, because he is jacked. And I thought, you know, he's the kind of guy that you want to keep an eye on and you want to see him improve over time. And then all of a sudden you see him in a match with Volta on NXT UK, admittedly getting murdered, but putting in a good showing nonetheless. And here he is in the spotlight, and you just can't help but feel happy and warm for him and Piper Niven, who are just two awesome human beings who have worked incredibly hard and overcome a lot, you know, in terms of size to get to where they are. I'm so sick of seeing people degrade someone like a Piper Niven just because she looks a bit different. I love powerhouses. I love meaty hosses, as you know, on this podcast. And Piper is genuinely one of the most talented and coolest women in all of wrestling. She is a megastar. All four people in this match did an amazing job in conveying the story, the psychology, and also the match wasn't ridiculously long-winded like I can be. It was a good solid 10 minutes or so. It was easy to watch. It was easy to follow. This is how wrestling for me should be done. Just over an hour, NXT UK. No flim-flam, no mishmash, no nonsense. Just good wrestling, good characters, simple psychology, and an easy story that everybody can follow without being ridiculously convoluted or insulting to the nature of your audience. This was a great show, and of course it's Piper Niven and Jack Stars who pick up the win. Great psychology, great to see the plucky underdog in Jack Stars, and of course the mega face that is Piper Niven finally gets some semblance of revenge over the shenanigans that, of course, that Joseph Connors and Ginny have caused them in the past few weeks. And again, NXT UK, like I say, just so easy to watch, and I don't understand why more people don't watch it. And I know people, real talk for a second, I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, well, they've got people on there who are shady and have allegations against them. Absolutely. I haven't mentioned their names, as you may have noticed, because I don't have time for those people either. However, I'm not going to cut off the legs of good people just to feed the narrative of evil. Ultimately, there are so many incredible talents on here, good people who deserve your eyeballs, who deserve your money, who deserve your attention, and they shouldn't have to fucking suffer for the actions of the few. I'm sorry, but that's me on my high horse for a moment. Either way, NXT UK was fantastic. It was well worth the time. I will continue to watch it every week because I am going to cover what I believe is great wrestling, and I also believe that these people deserve the format that they get. And even though WrestlePlug is such a tiny and pokey platform in the grand scheme of things, particularly as pertains to NXT UK, that doesn't mean that I don't want to fawn over a great product and also afford these people more of an opportunity to be heard and seen around the world. world. So check out the NXT UK programming. You can go back and watch so many of them on the WWE Network, which apparently, according to Michael Cole, is $9.99. Fucking cretin that guy is, honestly. Nigel McGuinness, so much better in every sense. But that's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've enjoyed this impromptu review of NXT UK. I'll be back next week, of course, to cover it. We've got a fantastic interview dropping this Sunday. Look out for a video on the channel, on our social media at WrestlePlug, to find out who it is. And of course, I will catch you very soon for more content from the WrestlePlug.